What is up, everyone? It's Ohan. It's Friday, and this week we're talking about my messy bedroom. Just kidding. This week we're talking about coming out repeatedly, multiple times. The fact that coming out sometimes seems like it never ends. I kind of want to use a different word choice that I think is more appropriate to trans people coming out. Okay, because this is the difference. Coming out with any sort of truth is hard, but there are some that. Okay, I'm going to use being gay as an example. So if you come out as gay, let's say, to your parents or your friends or whoever, it's kind of obviously depends on the people, but it's something that is like, I guess, confined to those people. Like, you don't have to really go any further than you deem necessary. Further meaning like in your circles of people. So like your parents, your friends, maybe like your relatives, and then whoever else you want to tell. Like, you don't have to tell your dentist, or like you don't have to tell your, I don't know, like if you go to church, like you don't have to tell your priest. The thing about coming out is it's so deeply personal, and there's something about being trans where it's like, it's not only coming out, but it includes this element of disclosure, like disclosing your new identity, or disclosing your new pronouns, or disclosing your new gender presentation. Basically something that's way more overt, way more obvious in some cases, than just coming out as having a sexuality deviant from heterosexuality. So in other words, what I mean is that being trans, like, you have to tell your boss, you have to tell and have to is, of course, not as rigid as it sounds. You can do whatever the heck you want, but all I'm saying is that you start showing up to work with a mustache, people are going to be confused. So at some point, it's like you have to open up this conversation with either your boss or your coworkers. If you're a teacher, you have to tell your students. Like, I mean, just it almost feels like it never ends, because if you think about it, every single person in your life who ever knew you from the beginning of time until your current age, at some point could run into you or could talk about you, and in that case they would need to change their language and or perception of you. For simplicity's sake, or maybe this will make it more complicated, but we'll find out, I'm going to use the metaphor of babushka dolls or matryoshka dolls. If you don't know what they are, they're the wooden Russian dolls that just kind of keep growing. Like, there's like a little one inside a bigger one, inside a bigger one, inside a bigger one. The metaphor that I'm using is like, you are the smallest little doll. And first you have to come out to yourself. Before you can explain anything to anybody, you are in front of your own computer screen on YouTube, or you are talking to somebody on Facebook, or if you're talking to somebody in person. However, you're figuring your shit out, you're your own wooden doll coming out to yourself. Then there's the next bigger doll, and who could that be? Maybe that's your parents, maybe that is your partner, maybe that is your sibling, whoever that like first tier of like people closest to you. So in my case, it was really my sister and my close friends were kind of in this next sphere or next doll. That's not even to mention the people that you do come out to and then have to keep coming out to those same people. Like, I had to come out to my parents, I don't even know, like a minimum of 3 times, which isn't even that much compared to the amount of times other people have to come out to other people, to certain people. So there's like the many layers, and then the repetitive nature of just like being stuck in one layer. My biggest advice is to like basically recruit people who you've already come out to, people who you really trust. Give them the okay that if it comes up in conversation, they can tell other people. So it's not all on you. I mean, I think that's why a lot of people come out on Facebook, because it's like kind of this all-encompassing thing. Certain people feel differently about it. Some people say it gets easier, some people say it doesn't get easier. For me, it's never really felt easier to say it, but it has felt easier to receive a reaction, if that makes sense. If you get to a point in your transition where you feel like the coming out never ends, you've probably made a lot of progress since the initial coming out. So in some ways, it's a good thing. It's frustrating, but I also try to see the positive in it. So there you have it. I'm gonna go because my computer's gonna die. Have a great weekend, y'all, and I'll see you next time. Bye.